what is up, internet? So I got a PS4 and I figured, why not review some PS4 games, huh? So I'm gonna review the indie game Contrast. Now, let me just start off by saying, this game sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. Where are my manners there? Where's my professionalism? This game sucks more than a French whore on a Friday night. That's better. Being serious though, this game is just bad, and I have absolutely no issue being forthright about this giant hunk of ass. It's like being part of the making of a really crappy avant-garde movie. You don't really ever quite understand what's going on, yet you're being led by the nose through the whole thing, and you're being forced to participate.
Other than the fact that the art style is somewhat unique, there isn't much in the way of redeeming qualities for this game. It's actually hard picking a starting point for something like this because it's just so plain. And it's also really annoying because it does so many things wrong on some very basic levels. The story is basically non-existent. The whole story is based around this kid, Dee Dee, who is clearly dreaming of you, the player, who's some sort of strange acrobat spirit that's not really explained very well. The main conflict stems from Dee Dee's parents fighting, and the motive behind their fighting? Dad gets money from the retard mafia to fund his incredibly lofty dreams of starting a circus, and Mom doesn't like that. You just don't care about these characters or their motives, they're stupid. You sympathize emotionally with the characters on the screen, but they're not really compelling. In fact, most of these missions center around one single mechanic, and that's the fact that your character can turn into a silhouette and use shadows to get to different platforms. This is the only real game mechanic, and it's kind of undercut by the fact that if you couldn't figure out the answer to the puzzle due to the extremely claustrophobic level design, if you watch the cutscenes that happen before the level, they flat out tell you the answer, and it's fucking annoying. It takes the fun out of the game. So if you're gonna tell me the answer, why the hell am I gonna play the game? Not to mention, because this game is so two-dimensional with this one mechanic, they're forced to give you all the character information through cutscenes. A couple of these cutscenes are playable only through sheer necessity to kind of advance you from one part to another, but the problem is that they don't give you anything important. The game does get fairly dark at times, but not in a real incremental or sensical sort of way. It just kind of jumps there. Very early on in the game, the mother almost kills herself, and Dee Dee kind of watches most of the process, and she jumps in before it's quote-unquote too late. Dee Dee has no clue what's going on, which is total bullshit. But then it's not really ever brought up again, and the two parents make up, which nullifies all character progression up through that point. It's just really a jarring scene, and it doesn't fit anywhere. This game actually borrows very heavily from the Portal school of storytelling, which is to give you chunks of story in increments without using any real visuals. It's definitely a challenge, and it's something Portal did so well because there are really only two characters, you the silent protagonist, and GLaDOS your antagonist. And Valve does a very good job of making you hate GLaDOS and characterizing her just through dialogue. It's tough, and not everyone's cut out for it, and not everyone should do it. This is not a game that does this well. The biggest reason being that the only characters you actually see are yourself and Dee Dee, but there are also other characters present, simply being represented just by silhouettes. You're almost completely disconnected from the characters. The only way the silhouettes can emote properly is by using really over-the-top gestures, which is probably the lowest form of pantomime. The puzzles suck and the game itself is really buggy and broken, so you really need some help from the story in order to push this game along because nothing else is really doing it. As a developer, you don't get points just because you do something unique. You get points for doing something unique very well. This is just such a lame premise wrapped in a really weak and broken puzzle game, and I'm just done with it. There's no reason to continue playing, even for something like the trophy, so screw it. This game doesn't care, so why the hell should I?
You know, I don't really know what's the worst of all this. The fact that this game is just absolutely horrendous in concept, or the fact that the delivery is so shit that even if I did give a squirrel's nut about what's going on the screen, it'd still be completely batshit crazy. You wanna waste $10? Give it to me. I'll come over to your house. I'll install 15 gigabytes worth of bullshit on your PS4 hard drive, and then I'll read you 50 Shades of Grey and my best impression of Frank Sinatra farting, and you'd still be more satisfied than if you'd actually played this goddamn game. This game may be free, but you should take a pass because it still takes up space on your hard drive, which you're gonna need for AAA shooters to install textures to anyway.